Welcome back yet again to another show of the DLF Trade Show, or another episode, whatever. That's fine. I messed it up. Let's start off with a realistic expectation. So I am your host, Russ Fisher at Dynasty Outhouse. This is Addison Hayes at AmazeHayes_, and we are here to talk about Dak Prescott. We were talking before we were recording about what kind of player we want to do. And I realized, first of all, we haven't done a quarterback yet. And at least I know I'm a SUPERFLEX guy. I know you have your feelings, but we're not here to talk about feelings. But I know SUPERFLEX is the way to be for the most of, let's just say, the people that are going to end up watching this. So I tried to think of who a good quarterback would be, like whose value is a little bit in flux right now. And it was the easiest answer that popped right away. Like Dak Prescott last year was a top 3 quarterback dynasty value. Then he gets hurt and misses practically the entire season. And then he gets signed to a long-term contract. Like there's so many variables that just kicked in that valuing this player. Like it's not super easy. So I thought this would be a great exercise. But before we jump into it, still doing good, Addison, because I feel like you're doing good every episode.
I'm doing great every episode, Russ. Ain't chance I can talk with you about some dynasty trades. You know, it's a good day.
All right. Well, now I feel bad for saying I'm good. I was about to say I'm good too, but no, you're great. I get it. Now I'm a little worse because I feel bad about myself. But let's jump into this trade. Team A traded Dak Prescott, Leonard Fournette, and the 301 for Baker Mayfield and the 104. Before we get into the teams, let's get into the league. This is not a trade addicts league, so we're off that. But we're back to safe leagues because one or the other, I guess. So this is a 12-team SUPERFLEX 2 tight end premium. So this is a 2 tight end league with a tight end premium.
No, just the two tight end, 2 PPR tight end premium.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay, because, oh man, 2 tight ends with tight end premium, I would stop the trade show and start ranting about tight end premium in 2 tight end leagues. So thankfully, we don't need to do that. So 12-team SUPERFLEX, 2 PPR, 4 tight ends. This was a trade done on March 15th. We're recording this, I don't even know what day it is. But regardless, this is all happening after free agency. That's the word. So this is after Dak got signed. And, well, I mean, after Dak got healthy, I guess we can't really say that. But Dak getting signed is the main important piece that we're talking about. So we went over the trade. We'll give you the details again because I'm sure even I forgot already. We went over the league. Addison, why don't you walk us through the teams?
Yeah, this was another interesting one for team situation on both sides. So Team A, that's the team who gave up Dak Prescott. They were the last place team in this league last year after going 4-9. And I saw in the little standings thing that they actually started 4-1 and then went on an 8-game losing streak. So pretty interesting there. I don't know if they had injuries or if they just actively rebuilt after.
Once Dak went down, you just throw it down the toilet, I guess, right?
I guess, yeah, that was week 5. I didn't even think about that. So yeah, that works. So they are in a pretty complete rebuild. They have Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, and Cam Newton at quarterback. They have Ezekiel Elliott at running back, but then a bunch of other no-name backups. At wide receiver, they have Adam Thielen, T.Y. Hilton, and Chase Claypool are like the only noticeable names on his roster. And then he has George Kittle at tight end, which seems pretty solid, but again, was injured for that same extent basically with Dak Prescott last year. So because of all that, he has the 1.01 in the rookie draft this year. So it looks like he's getting Trevor Lawrence to add to Baker, Jalen Hurts, and Cam Newton. And then also just got the 1.04 as well in the trade.
Oh my God, I want to help this guy with his team. There's so much fun stuff you could trade right now with that team.
Rebuilding is actually like really super fun to do.
I like taking over orphans more than I like drafting my own team. Mostly because I'm terrible at trading, but also because it's like, you get to go in and just be like, no, I want to make this mine. I'm going to just, whatever anyone else did, I don't care anymore. And It's just so much more fun because usually when you draft your team, you draft the players you like. It's, tough to part with what you just did. So I love just coming in out of nowhere, seeing what I got to work with, and then just going to town.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then Team B, the team that got Dak for Baker and the 1.04, They actually came in 6th last year, lost in the first round of the playoffs after going 7-6. And this was another team. We had one, I think, a couple weeks ago that kind of needed to decide on what direction that they were going. So at quarterback, they have Dak and Deshaun Watson and Jared Goff and Mitch Trubisky. Pretty solid group. Running backs, they have DeAndre Swift, Melvin Gordon, and then like Pollard and now Leonard Fournette. Wide receivers, they have Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, Michael Thomas, and Jarvis Landry, and Hunter Henry at tight end. So, I feel like they could kind of go one way or the other, maybe push towards that championship. Not really sure how they really want to spin this, but they got some pieces to move or win with.
Yeah, I feel like trading for Dak is a push towards winning, right? Because you probably got like a year or two older. I don't know their ages off the top of my head, but I know Dak is older than Baker. And you're giving up a pick to get... Has Fournette even signed yet? I don't think he... Yeah,
as of this recording, he is not.
Yeah. So that's a little rough. Yeah, like you're going to hope that he goes back to Tampa and can do what he did at the end of last year. So yeah, I feel like I feel like that is... If it were me, that's the decision I made. Like that is me trading for a quarterback I know is going to score more points at the losing value in picks and age. So and plus, man, Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, DeAndre Swift, like that's a competing roster right there, especially now. So, But again, not really what we're here to argue. So let's go over the trade once again. Dak Prescott, Leonard Fournette, 301. 4, Baker Mayfield, and the 104. Let's go with feels first. Okay, so here's the thing. Wow, this is tough, because this is actually a really good trade. Like I was ready to just be like, okay, look, this is how I feel, this is what I think, and I'm just like, but no. Ugh. Okay, if it were me, I would want Baker in the 104. Even if I'm competing. Well, I understand. Man, like, look at those first 5 games of Dak Prescott last year. Well, 4.
Oh, yeah,
he got hurt with it. Insane. He scored the highest in the trade addict scoring, because it's the only scoring I really pay attention to, because that's most of my leagues. He had the highest quarterback weekly score of the season in those first 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And
he was QB1. He was on pace for 6,000 passing yards.
Yeah, he did not waver from that high score. It's not like he had a bad game and then blew up. He was scoring really well. And we're assuming he's walking back in and doing that again, which I think from a health standpoint, we were told he should be able to. From everything I read after the surgery, at least, it looked a lot worse than it really medically was. There were no infections, which was a big deal with, Alex Smith and all that, though I guess they are similar. So we're a little less worried about Dak, and now we're not worried about his contract. So his value, value-wise, I like this trade. It's perfect because it shows Dak the respect he deserves. Because let's face it, Fournette and the 301 don't carry much trade value whatsoever. So this really is Baker and the 104 for Dak with a couple of throw-ins. So I get it. I like it. But to me, I'll take Baker, who's going to give me 75% of Dak. And at that 104, you're looking at, the QB3, RB1 or 2, if you're two points per tight end reception. If you're crazy, you go for Kyle Pitts. If you're not crazy, you go for Jamar Chase. Like that 104 is such a prime pick, and you're still getting a lot of years of a quarterback that I'm a very big Baker fan. And while I no longer think he is what he was at the end of his rookie year, he's going to be Kirk Cousins, like insanely solid. Like he'll be a low end QB1 every year, and I'm fine with that. So I do like that side a little bit more. Before we get into the analyzer's thoughts on it, what are your thoughts on this trade?
I think I agree with everything that you said. Like I'm, without getting into my SUPERFLEX thoughts, generally, as long as trades have a quarterback for a quarterback, and it's not like a Drew Lock or like a Sam Darnold quarterback. Like it's
that's the equivalent.
Solid quarterback, right? Solid quarterback. I'm generally gonna take the lesser quarterback if there's like more on that side. So I agree that like Baker and the 1.04, I would take over Dak because you're still getting that quarterback. You're not getting the Dak Prescott production, which I think probably might happen again because their defense is still terrible.
And they still have the same weapons on offense.
Exactly. So I feel like, 4,500 yards and like 30 touchdowns isn't out of the realm of possibility for Dak. But like
with a couple of rushing, and he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions.
Exactly. And then if Baker does like 3,723, is that really that much of a difference to include the 1.04 on top of? Like that 1.04, sure. The 1.04, I think, is the key piece in this one for me. And I like the Baker Mayfield side if I was going that route. And I like it a lot more given the situations as well. I mean, we've been doing a really good job, maybe pat myself on the back for like finding these trades, but like doing a really good job of finding trades that make sense situationally with both of these rosters, because the team that got Dak has Dak, Deshaun Watson, and then Jared Goff to back him up. And I mean, the Deshaun Watson could be whatever. That's like a whole entire situation.
We'll skip over that for right now.
And then the team that got Baker already has the 1.01. You add the 1.04 on top of that, and like maybe you could trade Zeke to get him off your roster. Maybe try and trade away Thielen to get him off your roster. And then now all of a sudden, you're looking at a young, potentially up and coming young team in this league. So I like it, in a vacuum and from both team standpoints.
Okay, first, credit where credit is due. The DLF Trade Finder found this trade.
Sure.
Let's just call out our DLF tools while we're at it. But also, I want to ask you a question. I know I'm completely sidelining or tangenting or whatever words I'm going to make up. What pick would sway your decision from Baker in the 104? Like 106, 108, 110? Let's just keep going by twos. I think by the time you hit 108, to me, you're at the bottom of that first tier, where you're looking at your top 3 running backs are gone, the top 3 quarterbacks are gone, and then Chase and probably Devonta Smith are gone. As right now, those seem to be the top 2. I don't have the DLF rookie ADP up, so I can't give you the real answer. If I were a good host and prepared, that's what I would have, because DLF DynastyLeagueFootball.com has that. There's rookie ADP. Go check it out. Company man. So at what level are you, okay, maybe I just like Dak's production more than Baker and this piece on top?
I think the first thing I thought of was the last pick that could net me Rashad Bateman. Because I think that he is the last top tier wide receiver that would make sense on a rebuilding team. Like I don't think Rondale Moore would do it. I don't think Jalen Waddle would do it. It would need to be Jamar, Bateman, or Devonta Smith.
So you're looking at around like the 109 because I think those two guys, and maybe you get lucky and Kenneth Gainwell goes first, but like you want to be at the top of that tier. So I think to put words in your mouth, the 109 is really your line, because once past the 109, nothing is ever for sure, because some dude at the 105 could just really like Rashad Bateman, but I guess that pushes people down. So anything past the 109, you lose your definitive chance to get one of the guys you want for your rebuilding team. Okay, awesome.
And it does you no good to, like, if Javonte Williams falls to you there and you take Javonte, like that, as a rebuilding team, that does you no good whatsoever.
And the thing is, since he fell that far, you're not going to get good trade value for him anyway. Like that's because if you are this team, and let's say you have the 104, you take Travis Etienne because he fell to you. Your smart move is to trade him like right away. As soon as someone's willing to take him for good value, get rid of him, because you don't want to score those points just yet. But that's, again, not the point of the show. So we both fell onto the Baker side when it came to how we feel about it. Let's talk about how the analyzers don't feel. Let's see how they output the trade. I couldn't think. I don't have
analyze.
I'm trying not to. I did that last time. Analyzer analyzed. I tried to be better, and it didn't work. Okay, so let's one more time. Dak Prescott, Leonard Fournette, 301 for Baker in the 104. Dak Prescott came in at 773.2, and Leonard Fournette and the 301 were both under 100 points each, so not going to bother. The 104 was 498.7, Baker 418.5. So our total is 917.9 for the Dak side, 917.3 for the Baker side. Wow.
Oh my God! Wow! Oh my God!
Fellas,
This is now the fairest trade of all time.
Of all time. Like, oh man, like give these people a medal. That's insane. Like okay. So we have to talk about this from a different angle because clearly we can't, say what if we think the analyzer is wrong because when it's this fair, it's not wrong. Okay, so here's what I like about this. When you really do boil it down to looking at the analyzer's data. Now, I know this won't really work for Addison's brain because he doesn't think in SUPERFLEX terms. But let's just pretend they're two wide receivers. When you're doing a 2-for-1, in my mind, you need to overpay a little bit to get that better player. And that's exactly what happened. Technically, on their own, the 104 and Baker Mayfield are worth more than Dak Prescott. And that makes complete sense to me because you're getting that better player. You're getting that one spot that you are assuming is going to net you more fantasy points. So I love everything about this trade now. It is just, speechless. I have no speech. I am done. Good job, these people that made the trade. Good job, DLF Trade Finder, for finding it. Good job, Addison, for pulling it out of the Trade Finder. And good job, Trade Analyzer, for analyzing it so nicely. That's all I can say. Do you have anything to add to any of that?
I don't know if you can add anything more onto it. Like, it's just when I put those names and picks in, like, I was fascinated to see a 0.6 point difference.
Yeah, crazy. Okay, let me ask. I'll ask one question. How much does this change if tomorrow Leonard Fournette re-signs with Tampa? Does that change his value enough for you to double think, second think either side of this trade?
No.
Yeah, I don't think it's enough either. Because
would it change if he signed in Pittsburgh?
Oh, yeah, I didn't even really think about him going somewhere else. Well, okay, let's go.
Because I'm thinking like he's like the only other team that really doesn't have a running back right now. Because like Atlanta signed Mike Davis, but like if he goes to Atlanta, I'd feel good about him too.
Arizona,
but like if, yeah, and then Pittsburgh,
Miami.
Wow, really killing.
No, I'm doing this on purpose now, just to keep it going. if I were a nice guy, I would have just let you keep going, but I had to. Nope.
But I feel like this shouldn't change the value all too much, depending on where Fournette goes. Like even the highest of highs in free agency, and like if he were to back up Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake in Oakland or Vegas. Like if that's where he were to sign, like I feel like it really shouldn't change.
I mean, let's look at it this way.
If you're the team that got Leonard Fournette, you're hoping that he signed with one of those teams because that just that would greatly improve your value for your team.
Yes,
because now you have another starter.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and let's look at it this way. Leonard Fournette is 79.8 points. The 3.01 is at 65. So even if we literally double Leonard Fournette's points, we're still probably middle of the second round, if at best, like the 203-ish area. That's something. Don't get me wrong. That's absolutely return on investment, but it's still not something that's going to make someone go, no, I'm not going to get Baker in the 104. I don't think that's enough to really change how you feel about getting those other huge pieces. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of ask how you would feel if like that would sway you at all, because I do a lot of trades based on feel, and I know a lot of people don't do that. I know you're a numbers person, so I wanted to try and get a different perspective for the people listening. Well, different perspectives, because I mouth vomit and you actually think before you talk. Okay, so Dak Prescott, Leonard Fournette 301, Baker Mayfield 104. Personally, we both fell on the Baker side for pretty much the same reason. The Analyzer traded fairest trade ever, and that was just so darn cool to find out. Hey man, if you're listening or watching, well, this is YouTube, so hopefully you're watching too. If you have any idea of players you want, throw it in the comments, because Addison will check it, and it will make me happy when Addison checks it and tells me about it. Or tell us how you feel about this stuff. We will absolutely, like, maybe we'll do a recap show. We were talking about it before, actually, doing a recap show, and we'll throw in some comments about how people thought about it then. Or even, man, like, if you find this later on, like, if you just find this now, watch them all. Go back a few weeks. Look at the ones we did. Say how you feel now. It's more fun to get varied over time perspective, because this is Dynasty. It keeps going. So the value now, which is always nice to have the fairest trade ever, in 6 weeks, this won't be the fairest trade ever. In 6 months, it'll be even less. In a year, even less. So as time goes on, everything changes. So it's wonderful to get a new hindsight perspective, I guess is the way to say, as you go along. So on that note, Russ Fisher at Dynasty Outhouse, Addison Hayes at AmazeHayes_. This was the DLF Trade Show for DynastyLeagueFootball.com, and we'll see you next time.